And during that time, my dad ended up having a heart attack. From there, we went on a complete 180. It was like literally that day, everything changed. As it relates to like food or nutrition, that's one part of the puzzle.
Better late than never, better late than never, forever hard to measure. I might see my future fall away, but you control time, so my future do what you say.
Yeah, what I want to ask you too is like, you've been a blessing to me. I'm on this fitness journey. Right now I weigh about 303. So
Okay.
just
All right. Come
a
on.
quick, yeah, I'm gonna keep going. Just give you a quick story. I came to you about what late 2023. It's probably October, November, and
Mm-hmm.
I saw you doing like the fitness nutrition. I think what I gravitated to was sort of the detail about the nutrition side because I'm an exercise science major, so I know a lot about metabolism and how to
Mm-hmm.
leverage energy systems. But believe it or not, exercise science degrees don't talk a lot about nutrition, which is
Right.
very crazy.
Yep.
So like when you were posting your content, I was like, let me hit up my man Vidal and see what we're talking about. And from like I think it was October to roughly March or April of 2024, I lost about 25 pounds. So I got down to about 275. What happened for me personally was I got this contract and life got very busy. So
Of course.
April to about September, man, I was impulsively eating because I was
Mhm.
trying to fill this void of just
Yep.
comfort, right? So
Yep.
this is why I think the nutrition and wellness is so important. So take me a little bit there for you, man. Like, I see you as a thought leader when it comes
Mhm.
to nutrition wellness. Like, how did that come about? What is like from I guess a big picture lens might be like your foundational education, what drives you to
For
to
sure.
uh, to learn more about like nutrition and things of that nature.
No doubt, bro. So for me, I would say the catalyst is when I left James Madison, I moved back home with my parents for a little bit in this transition period, right? While I got on back on my feet and I was working, and so I was at home. It was a perfect opportunity. And during that time, my dad ended up having a heart attack. So he had a heart attack. I want to say um, 2014, maybe 2013. And I was home. I was like at the crib when it happened, right? I remember waking up, getting ready for work, and my mom, uh, nobody was home, right? I know I sound like a 16-year-old kid. I'm like a grown man going to work. But anyway, I'm like, where y'all? So I called my mom. She's like, man, we're at the hospital. Your dad had a heart attack. I'm like, what? She's like, he's okay. Fortunately, he was good. So um,
Oh, hey, it's you again. The one that is watching this content but ain't subscribed to the channel. Listen, I'm a YouTube embryo, but I have dreams of one day being a full-grown YouTube man. In order to get there, I need your help. Subscribe to the channel. I am trying to help people in their dreams, their callings, and careers, and to help scale that growth. All you got to do is help a brother by hitting that subscribe button. Bless your brother so I can bless others. It's that simple. Be blessed.
from there, we went on a complete 180. It was like literally that day, everything changed. Mind you, my grandfather passed away from a heart attack as well, right? Um, and originally, my dad, his family, they're from Alabama, so you can imagine uh, like the dirty South, legitimate like Southern cooking and so, and he was raised on it, so that was just like a part of our everything, right? Which is still beautiful. It's still beautiful. Still part of our culture. I think now it's just being more educated about ways that we can incorporate some of that in a more healthier manner, right? So anyway, my father has this heart attack. My mom, it was really my mom who took the reins, and like I said, it was a complete 180 from that day. Everything like automatically changed as far as just what we were doing with food, how we were eating, like, and that was the catalyst early on for things starting to change. So it was like a ripple effect. My mom just went like cold turkey with, oh, we're not eating this anymore, these ingredients. So she really uh, did a deep dive and again resetting the foundation for my entire family. from that point on, it was like a slow build of, you know, her doing research that led to me listening and taking heed to some of the things. And it was just like simple things of like reading the ingredients list and what is this ingredient? What is high fructose corn syrup? Why does this one say high fructose corn syrup? This one says cane sugar, right? What does organic mean? And again, it being divine, we live in Virginia Beach, but we live on the side kind of close to the water, but also close to like what we call the country where there's farms out here. So it really, Q, when I say it was like a 180, it really like changed. You talk about changing kind of like uh, generational, you know, trauma or
Yeah.
transfer. It really happened at that moment. And then from there, it was like kind of like a slow roll into me starting to take over some things, and then I eventually moved out of my folks' house and moved up to DC, and me and my wife started living together. And then from there, that, you know, what I learned and gained from my mom and from this event happening with my father, like transferred to my then girlfriend and now wife, and then my sister and her. So it was just a trickle down effect, and then it just progressed over the years, right? Like you gain this knowledge, right? So once you know better, you do better, and it was like a slowly, it wasn't like really cold turkey for me, but it was a slow roll, and now I'm like, oh, I can't be playing both sides of the fence. Now that doesn't mean 100% everything is clean, but now I have this knowledge, and I have to take heed and do something with it, right? And
Yeah.
still, you know, remain in the constraints of society, and still. So again, like I said, it was just a slow roll. It was a slow transition, and then really for me, from there, from about 2013 to um, 2018, is when I flipped another switch. 2018 is when I was having my first child, right? So my daughter was born in June, and Teresa was pregnant. My wife was pregnant in 2017. So similar, man. You know, you go through the holidays, and I remember it. I remember 2017. We were going through Thanksgiving. She's pregnant, so then Christmas comes around, and it's New Year's, and I remember just being like out and about. We were in New York City. We were trying this restaurant, and I told her, I'm like, yo, listen, I understand you pregnant. When we get home, when we get back to DC, man, look, it's right in time. It's the new year. I got to do something. I got to get back on track, right? Um, so I January 2018, I was also starting a new job. So all of these new changes in my life, right? Baby coming, I'm like, let me start something just different. So I started listening to podcasts, and I my main change was going to be uh, starting in January. I'm going to not eat breakfast. I'm going to make like a smoothie. That's going to be my first meal. This is just me like coming up with things, right? So I was doing that, and this is when people talk about like manifestation and energy. This is why I believe in divinity, right? Because I'm doing these things, these small little changes. Start listening to podcasts here and there. And I'm like, this is cool. At the time, I was driving to work, so I would just pop a podcast. So at about February or March, man, I come across this podcast of this dude. Um, it's a Israeli dude. His name is Ari Hofmeckler, and he wrote this book called The Warrior Diet, and it's basically about fasting, right? And I'm listening to this episode, and it's very intriguing. And I'm like, well, I'm kind of doing this, but this is completely, he just blew my mind with the information. And like you said, somebody that's very intentional and has done this. And in my mind, I was like, oh, wow, like I'm kind of doing this, but completely off base. But let me try what he's saying. Um, and it was, again, about fasting and OMAD. So that was super intriguing to me because I was in my mind, like kind of on track with that accidentally. And then I hear this
Yeah.
podcast, and I'm like, oh, this is it for me. I gotta figure out what this guy is talking about and how to really do it. And that just from there, it was that day, that episode that kind of like again changed the game for me to now have something, at least like a playbook to follow and to critique and to do my own thing. But that was it, bro. It was just kind of like this one major event, and then years later, again feeling like, reflecting, you know what I'm saying? and wanting to change something. And then that's why, again, I just think it was divine. And then lo and behold, get into this information. And then again, that just flipped the switch. And that's where in 2018, I think after that is when just, I took it upon myself to dive deep into learning all that I could. And about nutrition and fasting. I had already had that foundation, like I said, the nutrition foundations, but it was then just being intentional after that led me to taking some kind of onus and really just diving deep into myself and just self-education, man. I would call it that.
It was good, family. Better Late Than Never is more than just an album. It's a concept that it's never too late for us to change our mindsets and our lifestyles. This project was exclusively produced by my homeboy, Matlock, who has produced for some of the best artists in the world, including Lil Wayne. You guys can catch this project and stream it on all platforms, including Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, you name it, it's there. As you guys tune in to Better Late Than Never, it's my prayer that this project helps you to live a purpose-driven life. Be blessed.
Yeah, man, it's obviously unfortunate that your father had a heart attack, but I think it's such a powerful thing that like sometimes you have what I call hinge moments where it's literally a life or death type of thing that we react off desperation, where from your mother was reacted of like, in order for my husband to stay here to have longevity, we got to do a 180. And so from her research, it sounds like that was really the catalyst and gave you all momentum. And for you, like, you responded the way, all right, well, I'm part of the family. Let me make sure I kind of do my education. But the beautiful thing, I think, is that like, it didn't stop there. It's kind of like a seed being planted,
right.
A seed being planted by trauma and being sort of watered and cultivated by your mother. But for you, you took it a step further, say, no, like, I'm actually going to add more fertilizer to this. I'm going to add more water. I'm actually being intentional with cultivating. And I think that is the beautiful thing of taking pain to leverage it for, our own blessing. And because of that, you're force multiplying, bro. Like, your wife, your children are going to be, blessed. And I would add on top of that, like the people like myself are going to be blessed because now I'm being more intentional about my health, which is going to bless, my daughter, my son, my wife, things of that nature. So I just want you to understand, like, just your own obedience kind of force multiplies other people. So I just want to encourage you in that. As we kind of land the plane, bro, it's kind of two things I wanted to drop with, like from the nutrition and fitness piece. Like, there's a lot of us that are uneducated. From a very like simplistic standpoint, it seems crazy to ask this question, but what do you think are the benefits of fasting? What are the benefits of a healthy diet, nutrition, things of that nature? Would you be willing to kind of just share from your vantage?
For sure, bro. I think and maybe we could touch on this next time, right? I try to, when I talk to people just on my day-to-day, I tell them to think about connecting the dots, right? So like a lot of people that I talk to are privileged, are successful, maybe college educated, but I have other people too that may be, in a different demographic. They might be part of a different demographic, whether it's financially, what have you, right? So maybe they don't have all of the resources where they can just go to Whole Foods and, spend time looking at, okay, I need to buy this quinoa, I need to get right. However, that's a layer to it. However, I think that I talk about what I was getting at was when I say connect the dots is, you mentioned just mental health, mental wellness is part of it. So don't look at this thing as just fitness is exercise and just fitness is everything. Fitness is mental health. Fitness is sleep. Fitness is, how we speak, how we receive information, how all of those things, like our entire life, we have to connect all of the dots. So I think the benefit to just as it relates to like food or nutrition, that's one part of the puzzle.
It was good, family. God has called me to help people to align and maximize their calling with their purpose. And one of the ways that I do that is through writing. My first book is called Purpose Driven Work, which focuses on helping people to get unstuck in their dreams, callings, and their careers. My second book is Purpose Driven Coaching, which really focuses on helping educators, leaders, and workforce development professionals to use coaching to make an impact on individuals' lives. And then lastly, my most recent book is called On Purpose Leadership, which I wrote with my homeboy Vidal Nelson, which focuses on cultivating leadership for teams and organizations. You guys can purchase any one of my books on Amazon. Y'all be blessed out here, man.
And you can start there. And I think that it's a major part of the puzzle because this is what we're fueling ourselves with, right? This is what we're feeling our bodies. This is what we're feeling our brain. This is what we're feeling and everything that encompasses us, right? So we walk around, we exist within our body daily. So it only makes sense that we, just like your car. I mean, you put gas in your car, right? Depending on the car, you have to put, there's different grades of gas that you put in the car, right? In the vehicle. So I believe our human body, we have the utmost, the highest quality engine. So we should strive, at least, we should strive to put the highest quality of fuel in our bodies. It carries everything. It carries our emotions. It carries, obviously it's a house for our muscles, for our brains, for our organs, and all of those things impact just our day to day, how we feel, how we speak, right? It impacts our ability to get up and do our job, to get up and care for our family, our neighbor. So to me, when connecting those dots, I would circle in the fitness, the nutrition dot being the most. Now, fitness, we tend to think about exercise and moving our bodies, and that's another component. But to me, it's really nutrition because that's the fuel, right? Fasting for me is just a tool. It's a tool, right? I talk about tools. I mean, there's a lot of tools out there. Fasting for me is a tool that's been around since the beginning of time. It's been around since the beginning of time. It's widely used across religions. So this is not a new tool. It's a tool that's available. It's a tool that all of us have if we choose to use it. So that's why for me, or that's one reason why fasting is just a great tool, because aside from all of the internal benefits that our bodies receive from it, it's been around, it's age, it's going to transcend, eternity, and it's free. Now it's not easy. I don't want to say it's easy. However, we possess it, right? We possess it. I don't have to go to the store and get this, or I don't have to order this online and wait for it to come. There's just a plethora of benefits from it. Also, like I said, it's a direct line to nutrition. It's a direct line to overall fitness. These are things that our body is going to benefit from it. So to tie that all in, man, I just think that the nutrition part, I believe that the nutrition part, and you can look around and see, I mean, there's data, of course, like I said, maybe in another conversation, we can actually talk about the data, but there's data that suggests that, the United States of America, we obviously are one of the most developed countries, and we're like top 10 on in the most obese, one of the most obese countries to be developed, right? And that number is continuing to grow. So I think that I see, just from experience with my father, my own father, again, pretty privileged, right? Growing up in a pretty privileged household, have the resources to eat well. I've seen what an event like a heart attack, where that comes from, and that's 100%, at least to me, it's environmental. It's based on at least his. I shouldn't say 100%, but in this episode, it was just in this event of my dad, it was just based on nutrition, right? You can flip that switch to kind of change things. So from that point, I've seen just over the years, like I said, being immersed, that these are things that we can change. We can control what we can control. That's one of the aspects. And that's why I'm just like at the top of the hill screaming about nutrition, is because it's important, man. It's our day to day. And you mentioned earlier, like about life and death. This to me is really life and death.
Yeah,
So I think it's something I'm passionate about. I'm gonna continue to discuss and just talk with people. And again, it's something that we can control for the most part. I understand there's certain, whether it's resources or lack of resources, but for the most part, this is something that we can control. So I just
absolutely.
I believe in it, 100%.
I love that, man. As we wrap this up, it's one question I want to ask you. I know we're almost at time.
Yes, sir.
I wrote a book called Purpose Driven Work because
Man,
for me, one of my, I guess, my passion pieces is like we all have we have a livelihood, like, and that's primarily our career to make a
yes, sir.
living to live, right? But then we have dreams, which is, I think like dreams aren't new to any of us, where we're thinking big about what we want our future to look like. But then
Hmm.
there's another word that's kind of like a weird term, that's callings. Like
Yeah.
sometimes in our hearts, it's like, man, I wish I can solve this problem, or this is something that I feel led to do.
Hmm.
This is like my passion piece, which is why I create this type of content. If you were to write a book, Vidal, man, I hear so much like education, but I hear a lot of passion, and I
Yes,
see
sir.
you as a thought leader. What would your book be? What would the title be? And who would that
Mm.
book be for, bro? That's the last question I got for you.
For sure, that's a great question, man. I think in my mind, maybe I got like 20 books I could write, but to narrow it down, I think it would be maybe I would call it like a mental mission.
Ooh, okay.
Mental mission. That's just off the top of my head. Mental mission. I think that um, we all have these. We all have like these. Somebody explained it to me this way: like these filing cabinets in our brain, and we go through things and we file those certain experiences in this cabinet, in this compartment, and maybe we go through something later and open that cabinet and see what we filed. Right. So again, approaching things. Uh, just whether it's day to day, whether it's monthly, just approaching, uh, you know, instances in our lives as a mission. I would say to put that cap on and just know like, yo, this is a mission. Let me figure out the best way, the most effective way to get through this, but also know that life too is a mission. You know what I mean? So even though this is today and this is next week, like the decisions I make today will affect next week, and the decisions I make throughout the week will affect life, right? So I think that if we can do a better job, right, as a brother to you, if I can do something a better job to equip you with tools or to see that you have the tools that you need to accomplish your mission, whatever your mission may be, that would probably be the book,
Wow.
and to try to provide tools or inspiration or just tell people like you know um, listen, you've given me some tools that I need, right? And this is what the human experience is about. Truthfully, I think this is really what it's about. It's about us utilizing each other, not using each other, but not misusing each other, right? Using each other to fuel our missions so that we can continue to complete them, man, whatever they look like. And mine is just right now it's nutrition and health for sure.
Man, mental mission, right? That's what you said.
Yeah, mental mission for sure.
That's
They all mental
awesome.
missions, bro.
That is a future New York Times bestseller.
My
I'm
God,
already doing that, bro.
I appreciate you, bro.
We need you to put that in the marketplace. But now we definitely got to chop it up again,
Yeah,
man. There's so
must
much
do.
more that we left on the table, man. But thank you
Sure.
for just having this convo, bro.
Yeah,
Extremely thoughtful. I appreciate your humility and your education at the same time, bro. So you keep
sure.
being blessed, man. And thank you so
Sure.
much.
Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for having me, man. This was dope.
Yes, sir. All right, big dog. Take care.
On average, it takes Americans 11 months to change careers. What we found at Lenore Coaching is it takes our clients about 6 months to change careers. Even more so, the first 60 days is where we've seen our clients land interviews and job offers. It's not because we have a magic wand, it's just because we have a comprehensive and concise career transition program. The 3 biggest reasons that we've seen folks struggle to change careers is because they don't actually know what they want, they don't know how to articulate their value to an organization, or they don't have an effective job search strategy. I suggest you try our 60-day career change course. I guarantee you that you will produce results in the job search process. Be blessed.
Better late than never, better late than never, forever hard to measure. I might see my future fall away, but you control time, so my future do what you say.